Like it or not, one thing I like over at Infiniti Nissan is the fact that they hold on modestly to the past and gradually advance to the future. What I'm referring to is some of their most notable models, which I've kind of held on to just the same. Hey, welcome to Stitch and Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, as the rain falls, we take shelter and take vision of what we have behind me, specifically the 2022 Infiniti QX80. Now, while the outside continues to deliver that behemoth-like atmosphere, what it also delivers is that regal prestige that it's held on to almost from day one, with just some nips and tucks over the last several years. With the Nissan Armada and the QX80, both of them have lived out the last, decade plus, pretty much, aging gracefully over time. Heck, the Armada, if I recall, didn't see that many changes, nor here the QX80 until as of late. Most notably unchanged was probably the interior, which thankfully has been stepped up for 2022. Specifically, not the leather and all those appointments, but you could say the infotainment. Now we're kind of closer to where we are currently with technology, but where it begins is the tried and true exterior. Really, the QX80 not making any amends or apologies about, its curvaceous exterior. Now, I'm about 6'1". This vehicle towers a bit above me. The roof rails really delivering a little bit extra height. This vehicle still getting in the tight spots like this overhang we have here. But where this vehicle delivers really is, again, just its deliverability. I love the fact that SUVs deliver what I want on the inside, specifically the first, second, and the nosebleed section. But the QX80, like large land yachts like this vehicle, do it well. No skimping on knee room, and you'll find that backseat drivers tend to get, the best bang for this buck. So this is the Sensory four-wheel drive model, starting price around about $84,000, all in as tested, just over $87,000. So not a lot of extra frills that you had to pay for, pretty much everything coming standard, and that's specifically what you're gonna find on the inside with all the comfort and the entertainment that goes along with this vehicle. But where it begins is on the outside. Again, with this overall size, but one thing Infiniti has not shied away from is, blinging their vehicles out, specifically with all the chrome, even right down to the mirrors, the roof rails, the accents down the windows. But what I like is what's happening at the four corners, kind of more that subdued, darkened approach. That versus the Throwback Thursday, which meant everything was blinged out, even the massive rims at the four corners. This look a little bit more stylish and fitting with the times. And again, with the advancements there on the inside, nothing wrong with Infiniti, getting with the ages. Sizing this vehicle up to the competition, certainly the QX80 isn't the largest platform on the open market. Even my Yukon XL is going to exceed this just a hair, but this vehicle basically overall delivers what the other ones do just the same. And where it maybe shines just a hair is while some of the big boys like a Cadillac Escalade and other models are pricing in quite considerably, this one you could say comes in at a value typically $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 less than the aforementioned. Now, when it comes to, reinventing this wheel, Infiniti has not gone that far. What I'm referring to is liposuctioning things up and, again, nipping, tucking here. You may see that more on the Nissan Armada, which has a little bit more straight line approach, a little bit more truck atmosphere in the front. This one you could say is, curvaceous, soft around the edges, not a hard line to be found. And that was what makes me like this QX80. It kind of does its own thing, while some of the competition, again, is hardline edging, squaring things off, and, borderline going to massive SUV when it comes to fit, trim, and feel. By the numbers, this vehicle measured in about 210 inches overall, wheelbase fairly stretched at about 112. As for width, fairly substantial at about 79 inches wide, 75 inches tall. Now, where ground clearance really comes into play in this vehicle is obviously in grass. Now, on paper, what you're going to find is around about 22 inches of step-in height. But one thing they're not really accommodating or mentioning is this right here. The step rail only making it about a 13-inch gradual step in. That means you're not really going to have to heave yourself inside at a running affair, but instead just simply step right here, maybe grab the handle if you're maybe vertically challenged. That's going to allow you to slide in with ease. The equal opportunist really are side step rails. Now with that, what you're going to also see is some great features, specifically side illumination. As you open this up, really lights up underneath as just for a little extra safety should there be some unevenness there in the parking area. Naturally, with the ingress, the access button making life easier on a rainy day like we have now. At the four corners, what you're going to see again is this nice darkened look. Does contrast quite considerably with the typical accents. Now with this body color, you could say it has a monochromatic overall scheme, really blending in quite nicely. If you adorn it with more of a contrasted exterior, really that's going to dress these four corners with more of a Nike shoe like apparel. Now what you're seeing here specifically is 275 50s wrapping a 22-inch wheel. Now the QX80 tends to be more of a pleasure vehicle, but this week we put it through the task, basically helping us pack up the house as we made a move down the road. So transforming this from a people hauler to cargo was made simple by the operation here on the inside. Now first off, just nice ease of operation here at the back end, to be expected power rear hatch. Now one thing the QX80 has done for years is this adornment right through here. You could say arguably protecting the rear fascia, the rear bumper, though this can suffer some impacts and scratches just the same, but maybe if you had to, it is modestly replaceable. You'll see the same trim package right through here, and I agree that this type of surfacing can handle scratches and dings better than the plastic, which also notice is a little bit of adornment when it comes to lighting, dressing things up just a little bit more. Now before we go a little bit further, what you will see is what lies beneath here, just a little bit of extra storage, just a little compartmentalized that you can hide things. Now as it sits, what you're seeing is around about 16 cubic feet here behind the third row. As you move forward, 49 cubic feet with the second row only in place, and a total of 95 cubic feet with everything laid flat. Now making life easier is in the form of the power controls. My own Yukon XL has this, a lot of premium vehicles, and that pretty much means you just press right here simultaneously and it lays them flat fairly simple and easily. Now before we transform this vehicle from people to cargo, let's talk about, well, the best seat in the house. No, it's not in the front, well, certainly in the pilot seat, but it's the second row, specifically when it comes to legroom numbers. What you're going to find up front, not bad, around about 39 inches. In the second row, it actually increases to 41 inches, and there at the back, to be expected, 28 inches. But after testing every position out, really there's not a bad seat in the house. Now what you're going to have back here is great overall comfort. First, oversized seating, nice stitching, almost enveloping seating, and plenty of overall ergonomic feel. What's going to help with that, of course, is this handle here. That certainly is for, well, the operation, but really the reclinability. Just simply press right here and ease it back. That's going to give you plenty of extra reclinability and comfort. That makes this possibly the best seat in the house. Now back to the cargo idea, well, transforming this is pretty lickety split, but one thing I found is it, well, only wants to tumble forward. Just simply pull this handle I mentioned and it gets up out of the way. That is great and helpful, obviously, when you're wanting ingress, but when it comes to cargo, that means you're just simply gonna lay it back flat. Not really a big deal. Once you put it back up, you can instead use the handle here on the hip. That's going to be what you're going to use when you're in the seated position. Just simply pull there on the side, lean back. But again, that can tumble it forward just the same. So the operation seems to be all or nothing. That just means, again, just simply instead of tumbling it, lay it back. That gave me pretty much almost a nice cargo floor from back to front. So one area that may have given me a run for my money is the rear entertainment system. And well, I had to refer to the good old vehicle manual to figure out, well, just how simply to turn them on. Instead of being able to find the interaction there on the infotainment, it's all right here with the screen. And what you're going to start with is just simply the power button. You'll see it illuminating there in the blue light. Just simply press it and your screen will come alive. Now it does have a nice tilting feature, and each screen can be independent for the viewer. Now to interact, not a touchscreen system, but instead just simply using the controls through here, find the various settings, the sources, whatever, and then that's how you interact with it. Now for small children, I do challenge for, well, how would the adult handle it from up there versus back here, but I'll leave that to more of your reading versus mine. To be expected, the QX80 has a tri-zone system, and unlike the entertainment system, you can control this from the back and the front. But while we're back here, just simply press the power button on. You have obviously the fan speed, just up and down, temperature select, as well as the various modes. Over to the left, both occupants in the second row have heated seats, as well as USB connections for either occupant. Typically, front occupants don't care about the center console and its overall cushiony, wide feel, but thanks to this little secret button here, once you press that, this rises to the occasion and allows for that secret candy compartment to be reached from the back. Between second row occupants, you will find this little hidden area right here, which will reveal dual cup holders. Nice springy material to really grip the drink. You also will find a fairly deep console between the occupants as well. This will help house the entertainment stuff like headphones, remote, and so on. Just in case you got to connect the big boy toys, that's going to be in the form of a traditional powered outlet down below. That's going to be helpful for the various entertainments that need this type of resource. And of course, you do have traditional car outlet as well. Before we get up top to the best improved area, let's talk about what's going on down here. First off, dual zones up front, nice oversized knobs for temperature select, fan speed here in the middle with push button. You do have the rear on control for the climate there in the back. What you also find is down below, just simply press this cover and reveal nice wireless charging shelf, slide it in there. When your phone is Bluetooth to the vehicle, certainly you can close that up. Pretty much forget all about interacting with your phone. Do have connectivity down below as well with USB and USB-C. Now swinging up to the top, again, this is where this vehicle really has stepped up. First off with the oversized touch screen, really barely an arm stretch away, and just the ability to interact with it should you need with your hands. But otherwise, you're going to use the central control knob found right here, making just toggling through quite easy. Now what you do is you just simply come up here and just simply scroll right through using the knob, or toggle down and find your audio, find your favorite station, and just simply go right through. Now you can again use kind of this tuning select. That's going to allow you to scroll right through, and I really don't see any delay when it comes to the interaction. Just simply going right through, finding what you're looking for, pressing it. The vehicle's infotainment really responds quite quickly, and again, comparative to where they were, this is a lot further and where they're headed. Now the gauge cluster integrates LCD display with the analog tach and speedometer to the left and right, digital readout there in the middle. What I like is it also interacts with the infotainment system, really giving you the readout down below, as well as various functionality when you change the various screens at your fingertips. Between the front occupants, this again is your central control knob. All the various shortcuts do have all the various four-wheel drive functionality. Traditional gear shifter here. Do have the closing up of the cup holders, making it look nice and sleek. Simply press it to reveal it. Mentioned earlier about the oversized center console. When it is lifted up, you will find a deep cavernous area. Upper tray there for items that you may need to get to all the time. One thing you won't find is any illumination, making this a very dark cavernous area, though you will find the button there, making sure that you have power to the back when needed. If you want to draw on the past, draw no further than what lies beneath the hood. Infiniti not reinventing, well, the engine either. What you're going to find is the good old traditional 5.6 liter V8 engine that delivers around about 400 horses and 410 foot-pounds of torque. Now that's coupled to a nice 7-speed automatic transmission. Now overall, this vehicle is not going to give you that neck snapping fun of 0 to 60, but it will give you a modest 8,500 pounds of towing capability. So certainly the QX80 draws on the past. It definitely has an eye on the future, albeit baby steps along the way. That comparative to some of the competition that seems to be going under the knife every other year, and it's hard for some of us to even see the family lineage from whence it began. But of course, what we see on the QX80 is plenty of heritage and growth where this vehicle is headed. You naturally see it there on the inside with infotainment that has certainly stepped up. The outside holding on to traditions, and certainly that power plant we all are familiar with. But where this vehicle truly shines is measuring up to the competition and delivering exactly what I expect, which is an Infiniti exterior, premium qualities, and being able to get me from point A to B and everything in between thrown inside. Now, as always, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.